across the studio where Emma James is revved up and ready to go with MediaWatch. Good evening to you, Emma.
Hello.
Now then, we start with a US politician brought down by claims of sexual harassment and groping. Senator Al Franken has announced that he will resign.
Yes, absolutely. And this is one that really struck at the heart, I think, of popular politicians in America, because he was very popular, having had a lengthy career as a comedian, and many people saw him as a real champion of women. So when these allegations came out, it was of the more shocking end of the scale with the whole Me Too movement and phenomenon. Al Franken, though, today has said he will quit, but he may have damaged his reputation even further by using his speech to really make some slightly dubious comments, as some people see it. Newsweek, among those reporting on it, saying that he denied what some of his accusers have claimed he did, so questioning their veracity. But they also refer to it as an odd speech in which it was rambling, self-serving, and was widely reviled even before it concluded. It's a fairly damning sort of up some of what he had to say there. The New York Daily News, though, focusing in particular on this one quote from him, and they don't seem to have a great issue with this. There is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office. Donald Trump, of course, the president, who, when speaking to Access Hollywood on a microphone but not being filmed, talked about being a star, being able to do what you want, grab women by the part of their anatomy. And a man, he pointed out, who has repeatedly preyed on young girls' campaigns for the Senate, Roy Moore in Alabama, with the full support of the Republican Party, an important point. But some felt that this wasn't the moment for him to be bitter and throwing stones at other people. In particular, certain Republican commentators, Ann Coulter, among the most rabid, extreme, really, of Republican commentators, says brilliant linguist Al Franken invents a new form of apology, trashing Trump and never saying the word sorry. This gentleman says strength of character is determined in one's darkest hour. Al Franken proved he is classless as he throws stones at others while resigning. He won't be missed by America, is his assessment. Donald Trump Jr. too has weighed in on this, using a quotation from Al Franken when he was on the Saturday Night Live comedy show, because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and god darn it, people like me, obviously thinking that's how Al Franken thinks he should have been allowed to get away with this. Interestingly, though, one person who has spoken out in his defence of sorts is Ari Fleischer, the former White House Secretary for George W. Bush. He says Franken shouldn't have resigned. His fate should have been left to the people of Minnesota, whom he represents in the Senate. Moore, who had sexual contact with a 14-year-old, should drop out. John Conyers, who hit on his employees, should have resigned. Well, he has resigned or retired, depending. It's a bit semantics, the argument on that one. Franken is a creep who acted inappropriately, but his facts are different. It's the whole sort of shades of sexual assault, if you like, which some people feel there should be no shades. Others say, no, you must treat them differently according to the level of seriousness. Looking elsewhere, some people have been left very confused by today's events. This woman saying, I'm trying to be happy about the Franken resignation. It's supposed to be progress, but the sitting president is accused of much worse by more named women, meaning nothing has really changed. Democrats just removed a branding problem. And a lot of people saying that really he is the political fall guy here because the Democrats want to seize the political high ground. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune refers to this in particular, saying they can give hope to women across the country that the old rules are in fact changing and that credible accusations won't be overlooked or hushed up, but instead will trigger consequences. One other interesting thing to note, though, is, as Stacey Washington says, he said will resign. He hasn't resigned yet. Now, she's wondering, will he wait to see if he can get more support and then reverse his decision?
50 shades of sexual harassment and bitter, the overall taste left in the mouth is what I'm getting from what you're saying. So Donald Trump, who was spoken about by Al Franken, of course, as we just heard, was runner-up in Time's Person of the Year, something that's prompted claims of hypocrisy.
Yes, very much so. As you will, I imagine, have heard by now, the Time Person of the Year title went really to what they called the silence breakers. It was the Me Too movement, but more than that, people who really broke the mould on coming out against sexual assault and trying to hold the assaulters to account rather than the accusers. And what some are very angry about is that Donald Trump was the runner-up to them, a man who has been accused by multiple women and who has admitted that his locker room talk on that Access Hollywood tape, as he likes to call it.
I've been in many locker rooms and we never spoke quite like that.
No, absolutely. But many people see that as an admission of being a serious serial sexual assaulter. Now, people took to Twitter to say that this was just wrong. In the year when Me Too made all this impact and is recognised for it, and the hashtag hypocrites being used here by Demi Lovato, she then went on to say, to be named Person of the Year, it should be for doing something positive or brave, like the women on the cover. It's annoying that it's just about impact on the news. And of course, there is always this controversy every year. Time always says that it's not about whether you're good or bad, it's about how much you have influenced the world in the previous year. This Twitter user saying, but it's a total contradiction. I'm so sad that something that should have been empowering has been ruined by their choice of runner-up.
Indeed. And Trump since has tried to say that tape in which he said he could basically put his hands on parts of women's anatomy he shouldn't. He says that his voice has been edited in and it wasn't his actual voice.
Yes, which has been denied by the man who was standing next to him at the time that he said it.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So it goes on more and more, layer upon layer of lies, it seems. Emma James, thank you very much indeed for the Media Watch. Thanks to Kate for the business. Great to see you. And thank you for watching too. Stay with us.